Hello, beautiful butterflies. Today we're going to clear the air on some skincare stuff. I feel compelled to share, and you guys deserve some explanations. You know that I care about this community so viscerally, and I am not perfect. I am human. I try to learn as I go, and although I'm unable to read every single comment, I do try. And there are certain things that people have been upset or hurt by, and I want to acknowledge that, take responsibility for any part in that I've played, and talk about some of these topics that, understandably, maybe people on the outside world don't have the full view of, but that I have not accurately communicated. And that's been causing harm or hurt or discomfort in people that makes me uneasy as well. And today is not going to be like a full deep dive. I'm working on separate videos for all of these topics, but these things do take time. We'll be discussing Naturium, specifically a video in which I mentioned Naturium without sharing the full story, which I have worked for over a year now to uncover. It takes a lot of time, and I've been working very diligently on that, but I've hit a lot of roadblocks, or should I call them speed bumps, along the way. Talking about my love for the succinic acid from the Inkey list, talking about the medical data that's done on human skin and why I like the science behind it, and why at the end of the day, anecdotally, it's a beautiful thing for me. My response to the Liah situation, which I fully transparently do not know or understand, something about homophobia that I should never have spoken about because I don't understand the full gravitas of the situation or how it impacts myself or others. Talking about my dearly beloved Dr.Dray, who I love and adore, and addressing a video that I filmed like a year ago, and some of the mistakes that I made in that video and that I'm aware of, even though it's water under the bridge. Nothing has happened between us that's a problem, but on the outside, people might not know that full story. And then even discussing the way I talk about my own acne in previous videos, calling it words like horrific, or saying things about myself that I would never say or think of another acne sufferer. But when I vocalize those things about my own acne and my own self-loathing, and honestly probably the PTSD that I feel around looking at photos and images and videos of my old skin, I realize that when I share openly how I feel when looking at myself, my palms get sweaty and I get like nervous because it impacts me, but like I've used verbiage that hurts people who are currently struggling with acne. And I really want to let you know that I see that and I'm addressing that here. Quick side note, the title of this video is Clearing the Air. We're talking about skincare stuff, but what's happening in the physical world right now, specifically in India, is it's abysmal, to say the least. You'll notice that this video is a fundraiser. All of the funds from this video are going directly to COVID aid in India. And before talking about, you know, skincare stuff, I really want to make sure that that's addressed. And if you can help, please do. So again, those are all the things we're going to talk about today with just minimal editing. The only thing I'm going to put in really is, you know, stuff that kind of backs up or helps bring context to this. And there's going to be a lot to unpack here. I don't want to make this a 10-hour video. And most of these things have other pieces of content that are in the works. Again, there's one video that's over a year old. There's one video that's 3 years old now. But it takes time to put together. I believe that there are two sides to every story and the truth is somewhere in the middle. And I am not the uncoverer of all those things. I try my best, and at the end of the day, I am only human. I do make mistakes, but I try to learn along the way. And I realize that I have learned a lot of things about these situations and these things behind the scenes that I have not shared. Some are due to legal reasons, some are due to personal safety and privacy and protection, some are due to me just not having enough hours in the day, even with an amazing and supportive team that, like, literally I feel like they are family members in some cases. Like, we live in a house with like 12 people and like 1,500 animals, and I love it. But I'm so grateful to be around people that love and support me, especially during like the current situation and time that we're in as an entire society. And even with that extra help, it's not enough hours in a day to change the world in the positive ways that we want to. But I feel like some people deserve to know a little bit more, and I haven't communicated that accurately, so that's what we're here to do. Where do we start? Oh, where do we start? Oh, there's even Sephora. Let's start with that. I made a video talking about Sephora's fake reviews online. I've spoken in depth about Sunday Riley and about how, as an acne sufferer, it hurts me that they would lie about their reviews. In the Sephora video that I did, I called out a brand that a subscriber had emailed to me and said, "Hey Cassandra, this is really suspicious that there's all of these comments, but the brand isn't even available yet." And when I looked into this at like 2 in the morning, I was like, yeah, there's not much here. This is suspicious. I did a video on Sephora and kind of fake reviews, and I also brought up this new brand in beauty as well as Sunday Riley and other brands who have done this in the past. And when I posted that video, I was using the knowledge that I had and the information that I had to explain why I thought this was suspicious and why I think we as consumers need to protect ourselves from these fake reviews and do our best. And there were some comments and criticisms that I should not be criticizing in beauty. I did not know that In Beauty is a really forward-thinking brand. They seem to be female-founded or female-led. They seem to stand for a lot of great things, such as being vegan and cruelty-free. They seem to have more affordable pricing. And there was criticism that that is not the brand that I should be quote-unquote attacking. And I don't know anything about the brand, and I agree, they seem like an awesome company. My goal was never to attack that brand, but I understand that intention is different than impact. My goal was never to attack that. The goal was to speak about Sephora, which I tried to do, but I realized that because I used examples from this brand, that may have come off a certain way. Now, I have not done a follow-up video on this, but there is more information that I have uncovered. Sephora employees, both current and ex-employees that have asked to remain anonymous, have shared with me things that they know, and I have more information about this specific situation as well as other things that Sephora does. And again, all of these, I'm going to pull up the email right now. All of these come specifically from these people who say that they are Sephora employees. When I looked them up online or I asked for screenshots of their badge, they sent them to me. But again, I understand that they want to remain anonymous, and so I'm not going to be sharing their names, their emails, where they work, etc. So let me pull that up here. So this email says, this is totally anonymous and confidential, but I can tell you that Sephora pushes the PDP. As mentioned, I live with literal Sasquatches who run sinks at 4 in the morning and make tons of noise. So we're just gonna deal with the noise today instead of me waiting and being patient like I normally do, because this is important and I'm just trying to clear the air. So this is a totally anonymous and confidential email, but this person can tell me and confirm that Sephora pushes PDP pages live a week to 10 days pre-launch, just so that all reviews can pour in and look stacked for launch day. Sephora does recommend certain partners to their brands to feed their reviews, such as Influencer. It's part of their sell-through process. For example, X Beauty launched on Sephora.com with over 100 reviews on every single product. X Beauty brand just launched the X Blank serum and it had over 100 reviews before the product launch. This person took screenshots below. They say, as an insider, they think it is completely unfair, but this is a directive by Sephora themselves. There goes the sink again. We're just gonna deal with this nice sink upstairs. Someone else says, honestly, this is something that has bothered me for years. These fake reviews have gotten really bad in the past year with Sephora's review system. I think that after the Sunday Riley scandal, Sephora came up with a new loophole to flood products with reviews. What happens is that the brand pays X company a fee. I think they charge like $50,000 to seed product to X amount of people. As part of this arrangement, the brand specifies where they want the reviews to appear. They all check that Sephora box because this is one benchmark that the brand can show that they are supporting Sephora. Sephora puts so much pressure on brands to support the launches. It is totally fucked, and it is costly to work with X type of platform like Influencer, so that brands haven't raised money, can't afford this, and they're automatically then not favored by Sephora. And again, there are other emails and anecdotes saying that small brands, when they get into Sephora as a store, they have to sell X amount of product, otherwise they won't even get their own shelves. Brands actually have to pay for their shelf space at Sephora, and if Sephora does a rebrand, those are like $13,000 acrylic shelves that brands have to pay for, and often the indie brands get shut out. And again, this In Beauty seems to be female founded. Indie, apparently, even our subscribers and Beautiful Butterfly Potato Wives have said they have really good setting sprays. And, you know, the video came with constructive criticism and feedback saying like, hey, Cassandra, you should not be attacking this brand. And I do want to make it really clear that although I was super upset about the situation, it was not an attack on the brand directly. Based on the information I had at the time, it seemed suspicious, but my goal was to uncover what was happening at Sephora with Sunday Riley and other reviews. But I understand how it seems targeted. I understand that intention is different than impact. And at the end of the day, like, I still, as a consumer, know what it feels like to put my money towards something that has fake reviews that don't work. And I get angry about that stuff because I care. So what's on our list next? Liah Yu. This is something that I don't understand, and I never should have spoken up about it. So I have no idea, even to this day, really what's going on. I was having an extraordinarily busy day. I was doing something that required my full attention, and I had a short break where I was able to check my phone and shove some food down my gullet. I had seen on my phone that someone who has my phone number texted me an image that was a screenshot from Reddit. And they asked, you know, I wonder how Cassandra and James Welsh and Hiram feel about this Liah Yu situation. And I was like, what? I have absolutely no idea. And then, you know, open up Instagram, open up any social media platform, and I noticed that Beautiful Butterflies, the community, also wanted answers from me. I had no idea what was going on, so I jumped on this Reddit forum, and regrettably, I did not read the full thing through. I read the first couple lines, basically, and again, I could be completely wrong, and I believe that Liah Yu has made an apology. I don't know the full scope of things. Basically, the post was saying that Liah Yu was tied to a church, or Krave Beauty was tied to a church, and they were donating or funding anti-LGBTQIA+ organizations. And that they, again, don't fully understand. But basically, people were saying, yo, how do other people feel about this? So I went down, and I don't use Reddit very regularly. I tried to reply to the comment, but unfortunately, I replied to the regular thread. And I jumped in and I said, you know, as someone who has had conversations with Liah Yu online, I consider her a friend, which was the wrong verbiage and terminology. But I said that. And I said, you know, she has never shown me anything but kindness and, you know, pleasantry. She's always been super cordial with me. She's always been sweet. We've liked each other's posts. I've seen her comment on some of my videos. I watch a lot of her videos, and I've never felt hate or animosity from her. But I was not aware of the entire situation, and it was premature for me to jump into that, even though people had been tagging me. And I'm sure you Beautiful Butterflies understand, like, I get 1,010,000 notifications every single day. My inbox just hit, what, 30,000? And I try to clean it out like every month. Yeah, it's insane. Okay, so we're at 29,343, so almost 30,000. Love that for her. I should have read the whole thing. I should have done more digging. I didn't. And my comment hurt people in the LGBTQ+IA community. It felt like people felt that I was pinkwashing. From my opinion, I was not, but again, I fully understand that intent is different than impact. You can kind of see everything that kind of transpired here, and I ended up stopping replying because it was unhealthy for me. I still have a hard time talking about things. There's internalized homophobia and misogyny from my childhood that I have had to work through therapy and work really hard to overcome. But a lot of these things and conversations still kind of trigger me, and I don't talk about them super openly. There's a reason I haven't dated in years. Like, I'm dealing with stuff, and I realized like this was not a good conversation for me to get into on the internet. And Liah Yu did make an apology. I watched it. I can't say whether or not she was genuine. I don't have that kind of control. I liked the apology, and I don't know the full scope of things. I don't even know what the church is called. It's called like C3 or something. I don't know anything about it. Apparently on their homepage, they've mentioned homophobic things. And again, this is my problem. I don't know enough to speak on this, and I spoke prematurely. She's always been nice to me, but you can still be nice to someone and be homophobic. You know, that doesn't mean you're not. The way that I equated it online, or the way that I used an analogy for it, and again, I was not trying to equate Liah as a child or a parent. I was not trying to equate a church as a parent or a child, but this was the best like metaphor or simile that I could come up with. But I basically said, you know, you could be a child who lives under your parents' roof, and maybe they have political or religious opinions that the child does not agree with. They can still live together and have differing opinions or different practices or ideologies. And I was like, okay, well, maybe Liah didn't know about the church, or if it was really obvious, like, did she go in and like have different opinions but just still attend? Like, I don't know. And like, I have no idea, and I haven't asked those questions. And am I just making excuses for her? I don't know. At the end of the day, I have always had pleasant experiences with her, but it was premature for me to speak on this. I'm not the expert in this. I still don't understand everything that's going on. But to those that I hurt, I owe an apology for speaking too soon, and you know, for not more deeply considering my words and the impact and effect that they can have. Speaking of skincare, let's talk about one of my favorite skincare products, Succinic acid from the Inkey list, and some of the criticisms that have happened in comments, which again, I can't read every single comment, but I hope you know that I try. One of the great things about having other people who help me out on this YouTube channel is that when they see something that they think is problematic, we don't delete comments here. We don't silence people unless you are doxing someone or marginalizing a group that, you know, is not to marginalizing a group. We open conversation and skepticism and criticism. And if I don't see something, someone else will bring that up to me. And with Succinic acid, this is what happened. So again, there is no animosity between myself and Michelle of Lab Muffin Beauty Science. I love her. I think she's amazing. We've done collabs together. I've spoken with her before. I so respect her and everything she does. And she created an excellent video talking about Succinic acid and why she actually really liked the product, but she was upset about some of the marketing behind it. And I think that, gosh, it's been a while since like I dug into it, and like I don't fully remember everything, but like I agree with almost everything that she said. And I wanted to share from my opinion some of the things that people in comments brought up to me, and maybe where I owe people more of an explanation or people want to know more. Basically, I started getting comments out of the blue on my video talking about the Inkey list Succinic acid when it first launched. I recognize that I got the opportunity that many people did not have. I got to try the Succinic acid before it was launched. The Inkey list gave me that opportunity. I tried it out for months before. And when they offered me with a partnership, I said, yes, absolutely. You guys are vegan, you're cruelty-free, the product is less than $8. It is my favorite non-drying spot treatment. Like, I freaking love this stuff. And I've seen the science behind it that, yes, was done on human skin. And I took a sponsorship that I truly believed in because I was thrilled about this ingredient and about how it works in the body. It's not a new ingredient. It's part of the Krebs or TCA cycle that our entire body relies on to create energy. But the science behind how it works for acne is fascinating. And I created a really cool video talking about this blend of succinic acid and salicylic acid and sulfur, and how that can help with acne, and why anecdotally I had an excellent experience with the product. But after Michelle, you know, rightfully brought up some concerns about like the marketing and advertising, people in the internetosphere had a lot of questions for me, and a lot of people were, you know, attacking my or I don't know if attacking is the right word. They were rightfully criticizing and you know, bringing up my either authenticity or my opinions or the science behind it. And I am doing a full video with dermatologists and chemists to help explain this actual process, how it works in skin, and the new science that we have. But that takes a lot of time, and I have access to studies and research that are done on human skin that are confidential and proprietary. And as I am going to put some of these up on screen, like, I'm legit sitting here and being like, well, hope I don't fucking get sued. There is information, there are studies that if I'm saying, like, am I really gonna say this? I don't have the legal access to share, because this is stuff that you need to either pay to access, you need to have you need to have a university login, or it is confidential and proprietary. But based on the science that is done on real humans, studies that were overviewed by dermatologists, it's compelling. And I can see where people, especially either in comments or like on other platforms on the internet, would be like, yo, Cassandra, why are you talking about this ingredient and how well it works for you when other people are criticizing the marketing behind this? And I'm like, you know what? totally fair. So if you noticed, I did go back and I changed the title of my video back in December. I still stand by the original title, but like I understand why for some people that feels misleading, especially since I didn't show the studies that were done on human skin. So I changed that like a month ago or 2 months ago, whenever that other video came out. And again, there is no animosity here. It's all learning and sharing experiences, and I think that's great. But for those who are concerned, I always tell my audience to be critics and skeptics, right? I want you to be a critic and a skeptic with me. And that's what's happening, which is awesome. So I am working on a video that explains things in depth. We'll go into the science of it, which I love. But, you know, people in the meantime are upset and worried. And let me tell you, like, it takes a lot of time to get a dermatologist on the phone who is versed with this, especially since it's a compound that's been around and part of a biological process since God made dirt. But extracting it from corn and putting it in skincare is new. And also a chem PhD, and like trying to get them on the phone, like it takes a lot of time and effort. And then just to edit the videos, like it takes forever. I am working on it, but I think what you need to know now is that yes, there have been studies that have been done on humans. They have been done on Asian women. The sample size is not as big as I would like it to be, if I'm remembering correctly without the study in front of me. I want to say it was N of 60 and 80, maybe N 90. I wish it were larger. I do wish it was hundreds of thousands of people, like a drug, but it's not. And yes, in these studies, they did not look at the blend of ingredients. They looked at just succinic acid separated, and it was shown to be as efficacious as salicylic acid in controlling both P. acnes bacteria as well as Staphylococcus, Staph aureus strains, and epidermidis. Oh, excuse me, I'm burping. Not gonna edit that out today, Cassandra. But there have been studies done on human skin which other people would not have had access to. And although I saw those, although those went into my decision to take that partnership in addition to my anecdotal use of the product, I love it and I still do. And it's hard because it's still one of my absolute favorite spot treatments, but every single time I mention it, there are people who are upset about that. So I hope that this will help clear the air so that you know how I truly feel about it, and that to me, the science could be better, but based on what I've seen, it supports any of the claims that I feel that I've stated. And I think it is healthy to judge and criticize and keep an eye on and monitor the industry, because not every brand out there has our backs. I definitely love brands like the Inkey list and the Ordinary that make skincare affordable. That means a lot to me, especially when their products work. And I mean, don't believe me, like listen to other people or like look at Sephora reviews if you trust them, right? Goes back to that whole thing. But that is kind of trying to clear the air in some of that area. And again, there's no animosity here. There is no distaste. There is no frustration between myself and others. It's just that people in my comments want answers, and I realize that I have not given all of those answers in the clearest, most concise way. And it's gonna take me another couple months, but like I'm working on videos and I'm working on it. Speaking of how long it takes me to create freaking YouTube videos, let's talk about a video that I made, gosh, almost a year ago that I realized had a different impact than my intention. I love Dr.Dray. Like, I am freaking obsessed with her. I think she creates such excellent content. She doesn't sugarcoat anything. She is not here to impress anyone. She is one of my favorite people on this platform, and I think that she speaks with amazing knowledge, conviction, and intelligence. And there was a video that I did where I reacted to her skincare routine, or other videos that I did where I spoke about the multiple products that she has made me buy. And I recognize that there are things in that video that I could have stated better. I have spoken behind the scenes to Dr.Dray about this. This is nobody else's business, and honestly, nobody on the front end knows what happens like behind the scenes. And I think that that's why a lot of people don't trust influencers, is because nobody explains what's going on. And in certain times, those conversations are meant to be kept private. But from what people need to know, there is no animosity. I'm obsessed with her. I love her. I support her and her content. However, I recognize that the video that I did was not in the best taste. The criticisms that are rightfully so in that video is that I was super judgmental about her choices, that she was recommending non-cruelty-free skincare. Hear me out. Cruelty-free skincare matters to me. I understand that not everyone has the means, the financial ability, and the privilege to be able to choose cruelty-free options, especially since some of those brands can be more expensive, or some brands include fragrances, which people don't like to use. I fully understand that. And I love that about Dr. Dray's content, is that she gives people amazing budget recommendations, and she gives people fragrance-free recommendations, etc. She talks about both cruelty-free and non-cruelty-free products. Simultaneously, for me, as her subscriber, who loves her so much, who consumes her content like my morning coffee, and I love what she says so much and the products that she recommends, having really strong feelings about cruelty-free cosmetics and trying to support cruelty-free brands when I can, I'm just like, Dr. Dray, like, I get frustrated because I want to try these brands so freaking bad. Like, I just want to throw my money at them. But I have this, I call it super, I don't know, call it constraintful, call it, I don't know, like overly, it feels like a seatbelt, right? Like, it keeps me safe because it stops me from spending money, but it also holds me back, and it matters a lot to me. So yes, I went way too hard on asking for cruelty-free recommendations. It came from a place of love. It was fun, back and forth banter. Dr. Dray did a cruelty-free skincare video not long after that. Like, there's no animosity, but I totally understand from an outsider perspective how it can come off that way, and how, you know, my friendly or overly zealous or opinionated nature can come off as snarky, absolutely snarky. And where you might see confidence in another person, you might see me as a bitch. Like, I totally get that. It is par for the course. My voice has vocal fry. I am a tall, opinionated woman, and I have to deal with that. It is frustrating, but like, it is the truth. And I recognize that in that video, I was maybe not as filtered as I should have been, and although I love and am obsessed with Dr. Dray, that video and my cruelty-free wishings that she would recommend came off way too harsh. And I wanted to acknowledge that to people on the internet, because, you know, people don't always see what happens like behind the camera, or, you know, and again, I guess that's why there's mistrust in certain people, which I totally get. But I wanted to clear that up, even though no one's really bothering me about it today, and it's not like a big issue, and it's like nobody's business or a topic of conversation. When rewatching those videos, I see the issues in the things that I say, and I see how they can come off differently than I intended, and that's important for me to bring up, because as a human, I am learning, and although I come from these things from a place of compassion, you know, sometimes my passion and my snarkiness can get in the way of that. So I wanted to and my vocal fry. So I wanted to let you know that I am aware of that. We've also got to talk about Naturium and about some of my acne comments. Recently, yeah, I do videos where I talk about my acne, and it makes me it brings me back to places that I don't like to be. Whenever I see photos of myself with acne, or like remember back to what it feels like to live in skin where I was having panic attacks or had like really bad self-esteem. Like, I'm literally sweating right now, and like my hands are glittery. They're sweaty because I'm nervous, and I'm pretty sure that I probably have PTSD of some sort, and got a therapist for that. But when I think about how I felt with acne, it is not fun for me. And when I do reaction videos to my own past acne videos, or when I talk about my acne experience, I have used words and lexicon that some people find hurtful. For instance, I refer to my past acne images as horrific, or, you know, disgusting, or just treacherous. And see, what's amazing is that I don't see other people with acne in that way. I see so much beauty and strength and resilience in people with acne, and I see it as a totally normal condition of skin that can sometimes get out of hand, but does not define a person's worth. Yet, when I look at myself, I can't always see that. And I use words that if someone is listening to me say those things, and they are internalizing that, like, to their own acne, that can be really damaging. Ugh, she's so uncomfortable. I can sympathize and empathize to what it must be like to be a beautiful butterfly who's struggling with acne, and watching Cassandra sit up here and tear down images of her own skin, her old skin. And I can imagine how painful that is. And I did not recognize that that was happening publicly. Authenticity is something that really matters to me. And when I share these videos online, I don't like to filter them. Like I don't want to, right? But I recognize that my language and my lexicon is something that I need to filter around me discussing past history with my acne. I think that I'm going to change my language to say this was horrific for me, or this made me feel terrible about myself, or I felt XYZ, instead of looking at a photo of myself and immediately being brought back into like that 16-year-old body. And remembering what it feels like to look at the mirror and be like, oh, you're so disgusting. Because that's not true. And like, I look at other people with acne and I don't think anyone's disgusting. I look at people and I'm like, you are stunning. Your blemishes honestly take nothing away from your beauty. Your flaws are features. Like, this is amazing. But then I talk about myself in such horrible language. So that's a whole bunch of words for me saying, I see that this is an issue. I don't want to hurt other people through my words. And even though I still struggle with things in this area, hear me out, I'm growing. I am sorry to everyone who ever felt negative about their acne after watching me criticize or discuss mine. And I'm human, I learn, I grow. Like, I want to let you know that that is something I'm working on. And especially when it comes to terminology that I'll be using from here on out, I might slip up, but I'm going to try to avoid using words like that that do not speak subjectively about my own experience, because I recognize that that can be harmful. And let's unpack that. That was a lot. Wow. We do like Taylor Swift and we shake it off. Oh, did I just, yeah, that's nice. Oh, just ruined my shirt with sweat stains. There is a lot to unpack with Naturium. Let's talk about that. I have been promising people that I am going to make a video explaining things. I was not involved with the original Naturium launch. I am not being silenced by anyone, but I have been working for over a year on uncovering, again, there's two sides to every story. The truth is somewhere in the middle. That's a quote from either psychology or therapy, and I think it holds very true. I have had multiple phone calls, multiple interviews with different people, and I am trying to get to the bottom of things. I posted a video, so I have some information that I have not shared. There are multiple reasons. Number one, I want to make it clear I'm not in a contract with anyone. I'm not being silenced by anyone. Simultaneously, the reason I was able to speak to certain people and get certain both quotes, video recordings, documents, etc. from certain people is because I said, I will keep this confidential until XYZ happens, or until XYZ happens. That was a condition for me to understand this, and I take confidentiality very seriously, especially when it is legally binding, even if I have not signed a contract. But for legal reasons, I believe that I have a pretty good understanding of the entire story, yet I cannot share all of that. And I say, like, look at like the iceberg that the Titanic hit. Like, you see this much on top and there's so much on the bottom. There is so much that people don't understand or have gotten wrong. But I understand that the only reason that I have been exposed to that is because I have digging, is because I have interviewed multiple people. It's because I have spoken to people. I've asked the hard questions point blank to multiple people's faces. And I have tried to piece this together. And this is still, like, a year later, there's still a lot going on, okay? And again, in order to try to uncover everything that is actually happening or happened, I agreed to confidentiality. And that has put me in a really awkward position because I have told the beautiful butterflies that I'm going to speak on this. Again, with full transparency, it is not my obligation to speak on this. I turned down all of the sponsorships that I originally got before I knew anything about Naturium. I turned down second rounds of sponsorships because I didn't have time to test the products. None of the influencer people knew what was going on. They've made that very clear. I understand why people are skeptical of that. And again, there's a lot that literally explains everything that I do not have the ability to speak about. But when this all happened, even though I was not involved in that in any way, people asked me for information. People asked me for things I didn't know. And I made the decision to say, hey, I'm going to try to answer this. I'm going to try to figure this out, and I'm going to tell you if this vegan, cruelty-free, biodegradable, really cool line that's not overly expensive is something that I'm comfortable supporting or not. And that's taken me a lot longer than it should. Now, I posted a video maybe 2 weeks ago. I filmed it a couple months ago along with a Sephora video, but you know it takes me forever to get content out, and I was not able to post that video until a couple weeks ago. But in that video discussing niacinamide serums, I spoke about the Naturium serum that at this time, with the knowledge that I know, I am comfortable supporting. If I am not being lied to, if I'm not being spoon-fed, and if everything I know is true. I spoke about the niacinamide serum and explained, outside of everything that was happening with the brand or in the influencer world, how I felt about the product alone. I had also gone to Target in a previous video, and I had purchased myself as well Naturium products, a niacinamide gel cream, and myself and Julia both really loved that. I have put my own money into purchasing these items because, again, based on what I know now, I am okay doing that. But from the internet perspective, not knowing all of this information, I completely and wholeheartedly see and understand how it looks like. This is what it looks like to the internet. Drama blows up on the internet. Cassandra says she's going to address it. We hear radio silence from Cassandra and everyone else for, almost a year. And then Cassandra starts promoting and talking about this brand and how she feels about the formula, and doesn't even address any of the stuff in the meantime. To the general public, it looks like Cassandra's a hypocrite, Cassandra's protecting certain people, she's playing favorites, she has bias, etc. Hey, first off, every single human has bias, absolutely. Second off, yeah, thanks for saying that. I appreciate the comments who called that out, because from the outsider's perspective, that is totally what it looks like. And it frustrates me, actually. I feel like my hands are kind of tied, because I want to share things. I've told and committed to people, beautiful butterflies, that I'm going to share things. But because there are so many moving pieces in this, and it's literally not what people think it is, I can't. Legally, morally, and because of confidentiality. And that is really frustrating to me. And again, based on what I know, if I am not being lied to, I support this brand. And I think that it's great that they have vegan, cruelty-free options at affordable prices. Now, people are saying that it's fraud. People are saying all this stuff. Again, you don't, if people knew this other stuff, it turns over a completely new rock. It's not always what you think it is. And again, innocent until proven guilty type of thing, I don't know. Anyways, there's a lot there that is just not mine to share. And I'm sad that I haven't been able to share that with people yet. I'm sad that, I understand how frustrating it must be to feel like you're waiting on something and it gets shoved under the rock and you're left in the dark. I get how frustrating that is. And if I were in charge of all this stuff, this isn't even my drama. If I were in charge of all this stuff, yeah, it would be done much differently, but I can't control that. And again, be careful of what assumptions are being made, because a lot of what's being put on the internet, based on the information that I know, is wrong. So, there's also a video that I posted not long after, talking 2 days later, that talks about Sephora. And in that video, I was very critical of Drunk Elephant, which I am. And some people were understandably extraordinarily upset that I criticized Drunk Elephant in that Sephora video so heavily, but not Naturium in that niacinamide video. And I understand why that looks hypocritical. And simultaneously, again, I've never cleared this air and I would like to. I really have an issue with Drunk Elephant and the medical claims and the marketing that they do that literally puts the blame on victims with skin conditions. That is very different than what is happening or happened with Naturium. So, to state this again, I have a major issue with Drunk Elephant. I've done an entire video on it. But some of the worst things that they've done is that they have literally told people who have chronic genetic inflammatory skin conditions like eczema or issues like rosacea or acne, all skin conditions come from the exact same place. All skin conditions have the exact same pathogenesis, which is factually and absolutely wrong in every way possible. But Drunk Elephant has said on Instagram, all of these come from the exact same place, and it's your fault if your skin isn't working. It's because you're only using one of our products and not all 6 of them. It's your fault that you have eczema. It's your fault that you have acne. You should try harder, and you shouldn't just buy one of our products. You should buy all 6. This really gets to me. First off, blatant misinformation, blatant pseudoscience. No, the pathogenesis of these diseases, literal disease states or disorders of skin, disorderly, not orderly, they do not come from the same place. And no, this over-the-counter product with retinol or acids is not going to fix it in every case. You can't cure eczema, okay? And there are times that retinol and acids could even make acne or purging worse because acids are exfoliating. Retinol speeds up the skin's cellular turnover. And then to tell someone who is struggling with their skin and looking for help that this is their fault, spreading misinformation about a skin condition, putting the blame on the victim, and then telling them that they need to buy a $350 set of skincare to fix it, yeah, that fucking pisses me off. And you can see that Cassie is getting sassy because I'm fucking heated. That really upsets me. And it puts the blame on the person who is struggling with their skin. Now that is very different than someone talking about a brand and having their launch go to shit. And again, a lot of people are calling this fraud. Don't call it fraud unless it is. Fraud is a very big deal. Skin conditions and medical misinformation is a very big deal. One of our beautiful butterflies came up with a great analogy, and she said, look at murder versus assault. Both of them are horrible. Both of them are different. But if you look at the context, murder and self-defense is very different than blatant assault on someone who is incapable of fending for themselves, right? Oh my God. Like, I don't even like to make these comparisons. But again, this is not meant to be a strict analogy. This is just the best metaphor that I have at the time to explain these things. But these are 2 very different things. And it is not okay to equate the 2. And so yes, I am very frustrated with Drunk Elephant. I am not okay with them for those reasons, and specifically how viscerally I feel as an acne sufferer, as someone who does have psoriasis, as someone who has seen and dealt with multiple skin conditions that sometimes don't have a cure. And based on what I know about Naturium, it's not the same thing. Now, is there bias involved? I hope not. Again, I totally get from an outsider's perspective why it looks like Cassandra is like defending Naturium, but like throwing Drunk Elephant under the bus, especially since I posted those videos like one day after another. But I want to explain that from my perspective, those things are very different and help anyone who's curious or confused understand kind of where I come from at this point. And again, based on the information, what I have, how that has played into my decisions. And I do regret that I did not explain this before putting Naturium in a video or putting Drunk Elephant in another video. I feel frustrated because of that. I was gonna say something important. Basically, I feel really frustrated that I've found ingredients and I've found products that if you just look at the product and take everything else away from it, it's a really good product. It's vegan, it's cruelty-free, it's inexpensive, it's affordable, it's efficacious, it's available at Target. Like all of these things that really matter to me. And it's a great, like let's just say hypothetical product A is a great fucking product. And like, I can't share that with people because I'm afraid of getting torn apart online or because I haven't been able to clear up the things that I want to yet. And again, you know, stupid little Cassandra here thinks that she can go in and like do interviews and uncover this stuff in a month, not realizing like this is gonna take a year plus, and like then there are holdups that are beyond my scope and my ability that feed into that. So yeah. And again, do I even have the right information? Am I being blatantly lied to? Am I a total idiot and don't know what's going on? That is all very possible too. And that just adds layers of everything because I'm a critic and a skeptic of not knowing what the hell is going on at the time, of not knowing what the actual truth is and trying my best. And again, as someone who's like outside of this and like trying to step into it, that is really, really hard. And yeah, you know what? It's also hard emotionally. Like all of these topics that we've discussed today, like all of the topics that I'm discussing right now, these are all really hard on me emotionally. And like I realize, like I grind my teeth, like it's not good. These are not the only reasons for my stress. I don't want to boil it down to that. Like definitely having different crises around the world, you know, like getting oxygen to people in India because of the COVID pandemic, among other things that I know that I can't fix. I can't save people. I can't fix these things. But does that mean I'm gonna stop trying? You know, virtue signaling, is that a thing? Do I do it? I don't know. I hope not. But I also can't stay quiet about certain things. Am I the most knowledgeable or the most passionate about some of these things? No. Is it even my place to bring politics or human rights into a skincare channel? I don't know, but I feel very viscerally about these things. And okay, leave politics out of it. But human rights? Like human rights? These things... These things really get to me, and it's because I care. And all of these topics hurt me because I care. And I recognize that these topics either hurt or confuse or distress other people too. And that's why I want to talk about them. So again, all of these things have much more in-depth videos coming in the future. I wish I could give you timelines. I wish I could give you all the answers. I wish that I had all the answers, but I don't. At the end of the day, I am a human who still struggles with her skin and her self-esteem. And I'm here to share what I know with you and what I learn along the way. And I hope that you're here for it. I hope that you're subscribed and a part of this community for it. And I hope that you do continue calling me out when I say something wrong about my acne or when I say something that hurts someone. That is really important for me to know and to address and to learn and grow from. And, you know, I hope that we are able to do that together. And I hope that this video is not the start, but the continuation of that over the evolution that I've done on this channel for literally a decade. So I am going to go wash the sweat off of my pits and try not to pick at my skin in the mirror tonight. And I love you. I appreciate you sitting through this. I appreciate you hearing me out. I look forward to speaking with you in comments. And yeah, I hope you always remember to be beautiful both inside and out. Love you guys. Bye.